But now, we're going to be getting into game number 3. The map is Daybreak, the map of absolutely epic games. And let's find out what happens over here, because spawning in the top right, one of the most accomplished and celebrated pro gamers of all time, ladies and gentlemen, we have Grubby. His opponent going to be in the bottom left position as the yellow Terran player representing Team Liquid, ladies and gentlemen. Will he be able to take game number 3? We'll find out in just a moment. It is Taeja. And apparently, the map might be wrong. So we're going to be consulting the admins in just a moment. Sadly, I can't speak in this game because I am a spectator as opposed to a referee. But we'll find out in just a second. I wish I could type that. No, it looks like these guys are okay with it. So we're going to be going straight back into the game, guys. Don't worry about it. They just got the memo about switching the maps off because of the bug after the first round. So it looks like everything is okay. And Taeja and Grubby will be continuing into this game number 3. Whew. It's been a long day, guys, but it's only going to get better and better. This is, of course, the second group stage of Dreamhack ISO Open Valencia. I am JoRoSaR. I'm going to be bringing you some of these second group matches. After this best of 3 series, we are supposed to go into another one in about 20 minutes, but of course this game could last longer than that. So there'll be 2 more best of 3 series coming up on this stream today, and then the round of 16 and round of 8. So lots of pretty awesome games coming out today, as Taeja just going to be putting his barracks in the corner of the base here. Getting Grubby to scout just that little bit more. Nothing terribly important here. Getting a little bit of extra vision as well. So just wanting to make sure there are no sneaky pylons being put up or anything like that. Grubby, in the meantime, just going to be grabbing his gateway. And this series is delicately poised. I think Grubby has shown us that he is capable of taking wins off of any player in the world. And whether you're a Grubby fan or a Taeja fan in the chat, I'm sure you'll all agree, and you'll all have heard quite a lot, that Taeja is one of the best Terrans on the planet, if not the best. And for Grubby just to take a macro game like that off of him is a monumental achievement. And he should really be patting himself on the back for that, but he doesn't have time to do it now because he has a series to win. Grubby going to be scouting all around the base. Oh, and this might be what Taeja had in mind. Does Grubby think he actually went command center first? And no, he will see the barracks in the corner. So trying to fake Grubby out into thinking that he had a command center first along the way. Grubby, in fact, just planting a pylon down there as if to say, no, you don't. I see what you're doing. He's going to be heading straight out of the base. Cybernetics Core going down behind his mineral line now as well. And nothing too much out of the ordinary as far as we can see at the moment. Still only on the 1 gateway. He's on about 250 minerals at the moment. He could conceivably be saving for a Nexus as the pylon gets cancelled. Let's see what he ends up doing with it. We have got a tech lab going down on this barrack. So we could see a couple of Marauders pop out early on for Liquid Taeja. And I suspect Grubby is probably not going to want to expand immediately off the back of something like this. Just going to be putting down another pylon in his base and getting a few more buildings out before thinking about expanding, which of course is the absolute correct thing to do. He verified that Taeja was not fast expanding, so he would not want to save up for a Nexus in this situation. He runs the risk of just being one-based to oblivion. So let's see what's happening at the moment. We actually have the factory being floated to the right here. Very interesting here from Taeja. This is going to shorten the rush distance to Grubby quite a lot. So I wonder if we're going to be seeing a very early timing coming out of our yellow Terran player. Grubby, in the meantime, has decided to invest in that robotics facility. So he's going to going up to 1 gate robo, possibly into a 2nd and 3rd gateway. If we're going to be following normal style builds in just a moment. We do have warp gate research about halfway done at the moment, so he should be putting down those gateways very soon indeed. Is that going to happen? Or we are in fact going to see an expansion from Grubby. So we have 1 gate robo expand coming out from Grubby here, and this could potentially be dangerous for him if Taeja opts to go for something akin to a 1-1-1. It looks like he's not at the moment. He's just going to be going Banshee Hellion as far as I can see, with some Marines to back things up. And the Hellions are going to have a shorter rush distance, of course, because that factory has been floated to effectively the 5th base location, or really the 6th base, because this would be the 5th base under normal circumstances. And they're going to be getting some cloak in addition to those Banshees, so we're going to have the Hellions just going to move up here and harass a little bit. Oh, it would be very nice to pick off a couple of sentries if he can, but it looks like he, in fact, is going to go for some of those probes. A couple of them chasing him around while the sentries attempt to tickle him to death. Will Grubby be able to get away with this without any losses? And wow, the sentry's doing such a good job. One of the Hellions immediately going down, and the second one trying to get some damage off on the probes, but the sentries, and now a Stalker, going to be able to flat out say no. Well played, Grubby, and the workers killed remain at 1-all. In the meantime, we have got an observer now from Grubby, seeing everything that's going on over here, sees that the factory actually has been floated back into the main base. So he probably never even knew it was on the other side of that chasm to begin with, and Taeja is going to be starting his command center. Now, Grubby did see that Cloak was on the way, because he did see the tech lab researching something. I wonder if that's going to allow him enough time to grab some defenses back at home. We do have now these gateways becoming warp gates, so up to 3 gate robo as it currently stands. We have a forge coming down as well. Natural expansion nexus is now up for Grubby. And the Banshee is going to be popping in now. So he hasn't revealed Cloak yet, but of course Grubby did actually see Cloak being researched. 1 probe going down so far. Meanwhile, what kind of tech is Taeja trying to go up behind this? It looks like he's just going almost for a 1-1-1 style composition. We're going to see siege tanks, a lot of marines, and Banshees presumably come out of that starport. But he did it after expanding. He's actually taking a 3rd command center. So this isn't some sort of one base all in. This is just a really nice army composition for him at this time. The Banshee does get chased out with 2 kills at the natural expansion there, because Grubby already has an observer in place. So not feeling terribly worried about that at this moment in time is Grubby. And Taeja going to be forced to pull back at this moment in time. So it looks like we're going to have a lull in the game where both players sit back for a little bit, reset, and see what else they can do. The Banshee now going to be coming back in, and oh my, the Banshee getting picked off immediately. Grubby keeping the observer there, and 2 stalkers and the sentry picking off that Banshee from Liquid Taeja. We also have another one at very low health, also with 2 kills, but not that many workers killed. Only 5-1 at the moment. So the current worker count is actually 33-40 in favor of Grubby, who has just been macroing up like a beast behind this. He's going for his Twilight Council now as well, and we see the +1 ground armor being chrono boosted out. In the meantime, let's take a look at Taeja once more. It looks like he's going to be going for his 3rd gas and possibly his 4th gas momentarily at his natural expansion. Going to want to get a bunker up in front, so he's worried about some sort of counterattack coming in from Grubby potentially. And he is, in fact, going for that marine siege tank Banshee composition that, of course, we would normally see in a 1-1-1. But in this case, it's very much a macro kind of play. Just a very strong unit composition for Protoss to have to deal with, simply because of the sheer amounts of DPS. We do see the Templar Archives coming down for Grubby now as well, so he will be able to get Psionic Storm a little bit later on, which will be very helpful against the bio, but perhaps less so against siege tanks and the like, because it's very difficult to get close to them without actually getting destroyed in the first place. Let's see if Grubby is able to make that work. Another Banshee or 2 going to be popping out of the base of Taeja now, going to try and move in and see if he can't get a couple more probe kills, because ideally he really wanted to get more than 4 off of those first couple of Banshees. But Grubby sees this coming, moves the Stalker away from the watchtower so that the Banshees don't know that the Stalker was at the watchtower. I love this move from him, and he's going to be heading towards both the 3rd base and the natural, needing to be very, very careful there. Some Marines going to be patrolling. Note, there's no medevac here, so that isn't going to become a drop anytime soon. And here we go. Taeja going to try and get Grubby to cancel the natural expansion. We have stalkers and sentries coming in, but we also have an observer, and I think that's going to be more than enough. Is Grubby going to walk all the way underneath the Banshees? He is, and one of them almost going down, but not quite. In the meantime, back in the Terran base, we actually see Taeja. Wow, a lot of siege tanks here, and we have got a Ghost Academy coming down in the back of the natural expansion as well. So he's playing very defensively at the moment, only on 2 bases, and he's now, wow, adding a lot of barracks to this mix as well, so adding 4 more, and he does have that 3rd orbital command too. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see Taeja expanding very soon indeed. Those Banshees just weren't able to do very much damage against Grubby at this moment in time, and Grubby in the meantime just going to be going up to more and more gateways. He's getting Zealot Charge, which is excellent against that bio, also getting Psionic Storm. So both of these are going to be fantastic tools in his arsenal, but with proper Ghost Micro, Taeja might be able to nullify that. So this is going to become a very, very skillful endgame where we get to see, once again, Ghosts versus High Templar. A couple of Marines there, not quite taking out the Observer. Grubby flying away before there is any sort of remote chance on scatting. And we have the third base now slowly being lifted over to its location from Taeja, and he's actually taken his third base a lot later than Grubby has. The mining is approximately equal at the moment, but that's because Taeja is also using those mules. So Grubby doing a good job of holding on to his bases. A decent number of observers floating out across the map as well. Look at Grubby's vision. He's doing very well. This is almost like Overlord spread vision that Grubby has at the moment, and he's been using that with his observers to great effect in this series so far. And that's really allowed Grubby to see an awful lot of what is coming before it actually happens. And there we go. It looks like a Raven came out for Taeja, and with that, that observer is definitely going to be dead. But of course, Grubby now knows that a third base is on the way here as Taeja drops the Mule Hammer. In the meantime, this suicidal factory driver. Why are all factory drivers this crazy? You're going to be moving towards the third base here. There's a downed medevac there, and you still want to go in? If I were you, I would land somewhere. Really need to be careful with that. And Grubby now going to be moving out of his natural expansion, going towards the middle of the map with one of these zealots, which unfortunately is going to go down, but actually takes out a marine with him, so not a bad trade there at all, considering he was cornered. We have two cloaked banshees now, going to be moving out towards the center of the map. Excellent EMP, and we just need one hit on this banshee, just one. He is at 1 hit point right now, and unfortunately for Grubby, it is going to survive, but a great move there with the High Templar. He now has a pylon on the top section of the map, going to be moving in with some zealots and some more High Templar with this composition. He is looking to mount a devastating attack against the third, but I think Taeja is prepared for this. Look at this. The siege tank's in an excellent position here. The first couple of zealots move in, sees that he's actually being targeted by siege tank fire, and Grubby instead is going to be moving straight up into the natural expansion. This could be absolutely huge for him because the siege tanks are arguably out of position, but Grubby thinks better of it and moves out for now. We've got 4 zealots just going to be moving in on their own to the third base by the looks of things at the moment. But there are 2 banshees here and those siege tanks, so I don't think they're going to be able to accomplish very much at all. They might be able to kill the SDV, there we go, building the next command center, but really that isn't the level of damage he was looking to do. Grubby is actually taking his 4th base behind this as well, and while we weren't looking, he has actually gone up to Colossus Tech. He is getting extended thermal lance out, and we see those Colossi now being produced from the robotics facility. Upgrades, by the way, we have 1-3, which is +1 attack and +3 armor on Grubby's units at the moment, so really wanting to beef up surviving those hits as long as we can. We have 0-0 on the air units from Taeja, and on infantry we've got 1-1. So Grubby technically has the upgrade advantage at the moment, but will he be able to power through and make it count in a large engagement? We're going to have to wait and see what happens here. He is at 174 supply to Taeja's 181, and the work supply is currently 69 apiece, so fairly even at this point of the game. In the meantime, we have that Banshee not quite catching that pylon up at the top of the map. That could end up being very pivotal later, because we could see some zealots take out a lot down here if Taeja isn't careful. We do spot the pylons at the bottom of the map, though, and chances are this one will get spotted as well en route to the 4th base. Taeja looking to mount a little bit of an offensive here, but Grubby possibly in a good position to intercept. Those High Templar have so much energy, and the ghosts are coming out now. Needs to be oh so careful. Do we get feedbacks? 1 feedback, 1 snipe as well, and both sides coming out of that exchange relatively even. Grubby needs to be oh so careful. A small band of units coming out from Taeja now, trying to snipe off anything he can, and it looks like a defensive storm to prevent the rest of the army coming through. Did pop by a second storm coming out as well, taking out a few bio units, but not quite worth its weight in gold, so to speak. And we do have both players poised to attack each other on Grubby's half of the map. By the way, we actually see Taeja taking this forward expansion while he's doing this. I love that move from him. And Grubby's army is actually moving back towards a natural expansion. He thought the Taeja was going to go up north. He was not. We have the suicidal factory driver now going to be heading down to the bottom right expansion, where a lot of cannons have just gone up, but really that's just going to delay Taeja by a matter of seconds when he eventually moves in. A small band of units coming in from the top as well, so he could be denying that natural expansion location there for Grubby. And a couple of ghosts and a siege tank actually being caught out of position by these zealots here in the middle of the map. Zealots with charge, very nice for charging up against ghosts, but it looks like this is going to be the battle. Excellent EMP and a lot of the zealots from Liquid Taeja there, and Grubby having to let off a defensive storm, and he's going to be moving back for now. That's actually good for Grubby because that EMP got a lot of the zealots, but if you take a look, not many of them got killed, and a lot of them still have most of their HP. So he's going to be fine. He will regenerate those shields. In the meantime, though, it looks like a robotic facility getting completely targeted down here and will go down from Grubby. Taeja going to be moving into the mineral line here, and just going to cause a little bit of light damage, but Grubby's army will be more than adequate to defeat this. We actually have the factory driver now just going to be chilling out with the probes, trying to coexist over here, and I think everything's going to be fine until he attempts to build a heli, and then Grubby really won't like him very much. So we'll keep an eye on that, but we have got a decent number of units coming into the third base location of Taeja now, and this looks to do a decent amount of damage as Taeja has not noticed until it was quite late. A couple of workers being killed out here, and ooh, a storm mostly on his own zealots there, but we have got a second storm going off on this bio. And no, that Archon's definitely not going to live to see the light of day there. So that harassment has gone down for now, but the total number of workers killed remains at 8. So both sides being very, very careful with their workers in this game, and now it's Grubby's turn to be offensive. He is at the forward watchtower location. Only 2 Vikings out for Taeja, so he needs to do something pretty special against these Colossi here. Great storms coming out from Grubby, but has Taeja simply got too much stuff? He is up by 30 supply at the moment, and Grubby is in full retreat. It looks like the last Colossus might even go down to these Vikings, because 3 more appeared out of nowhere, and we have got a Colossus coming in as backup, but there just aren't enough ground units to back it up. It looks like at least the Vikings aren't going to get taken down, but 3 more pop up out of nowhere as well, and now Taeja is on the offense as Grubby down to 129 supply. And, oh, it looks like a single zealot has taken offense to this factory, and that's going to burn down, but really, that's a small victory at the moment. Potential drop in the ocean stuff. Grubby trying to get back on track now. He has got the Dark Shrine just completing up in the main. I wonder if DTs are going to be able to help him here, because Taeja is now up to 193 supply versus 129. So Grubby needs to do something fairly drastic, and he needs to do it quickly. We have got zealots being morphed in at the top. Do we see any DTs being morphed in anywhere else? I can't see them at the moment, so it looks like we have some zealots moving in and DTs mixed in with the army as well, but scans from Taeja tells him that there are DTs with the army, so he's going to be going first to the 4th base location where he knows the army of Grubby is not, and these cannons are dropping like flies right now, ladies and gentlemen, but this is buying Grubby time. If he can get a really awesome engagement, that's great. He just needs to forfeit the base to do it, but he's still down on supply. He's down to 143 now, against 190 of Taeja, who has a couple of Marines sort of sieging up the natural expansion, just making sure no reinforcements come out of it or delaying them a little bit. And here we go. This looks like it could be the battle to decide the game. Taeja actually pushing in against Grubby at the moment. Excellent EMPs and snipes off on all the High Templar, and the Vikings pick off the Colossi as well. Grubby looks to be in an absolutely dire situation, and Taeja showing us why a lot of people are touting him to be the best Terran player in the world right now. Just swarming into the base with a lot of bile. There are no Colossi left on the field. There are no High Templar with storms available. Scan going down, taking out the DTs as well. This third base isn't mining very much at the moment because some zealots did do a decent amount of damage, but it's not going to be enough to turn this game around. Grubby now down to 106 supply versus the 200 of Taeja, and it looks like Taeja is going to be coming in for the series victory, 2-1, producing 5 Marauders and 3 Marines at a time now, just looking to crush Grubby with brute force. Another scan going down, a small clump of units possibly going towards the 3rd base location. Grubby trying to fight back from there, but Taeja deciding to regroup his army, and he is so smart. He's actually just pulling out right now, wanting to regroup everything to make sure that when he actually hits with his final push, there is nothing Grubby can do to stop it. Actually making an additional 2 command centers out in the middle of the map. These could be defensive planetaries, or he could float one over to the 4th base location very, very quickly indeed. A single DT going to be moving in towards Taeja's base now, but that might end up being too little too late. It looks like Taeja is poised to grab this 3rd base location as well, and here we go, possibly the final engagement of the day. A decent storm on the Vikings there from Grubby, but at the end of the day he only has the 1 Colossus. It might not be enough. Good storm on these bio units, but Grubby is now down to under 100 supply. The natural expansion is toast, and Taeja is back up to 199. This Dark Templar really is just small victory here, 4 kills, ranked Disciple, but it's not going to be enough to turn the game around. Grubby down to 20 supply. GG, and Liquid Taeja, ladies and gentlemen, takes the series over Grubby 2-1.